Hello, good evening. Welcome to this Q&A of New Dawn Fates. We are here with the director, Gürcan Keltek, and a part of his crew. We have with us son of Philip for the music, Erol Babaoglu, one of the actors, and Peter Zeitling, the director of photography, and Arda Cilpepe, the producer of the movie. Please welcome with a little applause. I want to start with a question about the gaze of this movie, because we saw something really special, really unique. And I think that this movie was born also with the idea to describe a different gaze on the reality. And so I want to know, how do you work together to create this gaze, and how do you imagine from the beginning this story has the possibility to open the eyes of the audience?
I actually started as a documentary, so this was a real character, and we were working together for a long time. I made a lot of recordings with him. Then somehow I want to abandon that particular documentary film, because it was difficult to work with him, and his situation get worse. I also bored of making documentaries, you know. I was doing for a long time, and I realized that I have to quit of ways of documenting, you know. So I took another approach. I used all of these recordings and images and sounds I made with him, and I create this timeline of psychotic attack, which takes a couple of days actually. And then I create this story. But by making it, since I'm coming this, doc background, I use a lot of improvisations with actors, because majority of my actors were coming from theater background, so they used to do that. I also wanted to create this atmosphere of theater of his mind, you know. Especially the second half of the film, it's just the thing he creates in his own mind, and he's, you know, kind of his mind is fighting himself, you know. So this idea came from a real person actually. He was a friend of mine. But the end result is a kind of a speculation on mental decay and how we perceive reality. And so also I was doing this research on this occult movement. It was around the time of the post-Republic of Turkey. And there was a group of doctors working with the mediums in clairvoyance, and they were coming. They had faith, and they did this scene. They are coming from. It was really, really interesting. So I clash ideas, and that's the result actually.
Peter, do you want to add something with the work with the camera, because? No, it's really amazing, and no, you can really feel a different gaze on the world.
That's true.
Yeah, I think the idea of because we both are experienced in making documentaries, and also whenever I'm making films which is fiction, then I always try to mix and to learn the fiction idea. To learn into the documentary and vice versa, and to bring the documentary style also in the fiction. And what I think was so special on this film is that Gürcan really managed to create a world, or a scenery and scenes. Also, especially when there were so many actors involved, like at the family scenes at the table and stuff, so that they kind of became real. They were not actors anymore, and we and I, or let's say put together, we together captured in one shot without any editing, and this is something very unique. You sometimes see it in big films and big movies, because only a few directors are able to really manage this kind of directing, that you don't need to cut all the time, no? Because usually the films are done. You shoot one little part and you shoot another one, and then it's very easy. Then they cut the best ones together, and this is then the result. And so this approach which we did was different, and that's, I think, why it becomes so hypnotic, because you always feel you are inside, really in the scenery, and you are not just watching some images flipping on the screen, but you really feel you watch into a window of a different reality, and in this case a reality which is more than reality, because what is reality? Reality is defined by the norm, what is normal and what is insane, or what is allowed, what is not allowed, how to and this is I think kind of this kind of film, and this was fascinating me to work on it.
I want to add one thing which just came to my mind actually when Peter was asking me, okay, what kind of look or approach we're gonna do. We were talking about that camera should be restless, has to move, because the character is also restless. He can't stay in. He wants to be out all the time. He's always on the move. And also, for me, Peter's camera work was amazing. He was breathing with the actors. He was just following them. And sometimes we do some shots like 23 minutes, up to 30 minutes sometimes. And all the film came out of these stylized improvisations,
And it was a kind of ballet, with the actors. And
True.
Errol also said he liked this kind of dancing with the camera. And so everybody feels like everybody is connected with like a rubber wire, and so we were like dancing with each other.
True.
And Harold, he's in a different role in the movie, and I want to know more,
more than
about
one, that's for sure.
this idea to have one actor that became, in different situation, the person in charge to move our main character, no?
It was in the beginning. It was my role was maybe more little, like not devil, but like a devil character. We said it.
It was our initial plan.
Yeah.
Then we changed it.
Then we changed it
Because the character sees him as a source of evil. He hates his doctor. He never says it. But,
yes.
Yeah.
And then when Akın after hospital, especially Akın sees everything after this talking with the doctor, and everything changes little, especially in the crowded in Istanbul. He talks blah blah blah, and then. In the beginning was some role, but we can't see maybe. But in the end, Akın or the devil cannot win. I see. There was a word. Türkçe söyleyeyim bunu. Burası bizim değil, bizi öldürmek isteyenlerin ülkesi diye.
I will translate. He was saying that there was a word that this is not our country, but this is our the country that of people who wants to kill us.
Bu anlamda Türkçe devam edeyim. Bu anlamda oynadığım o özellikle bu lensli, beyaz lensli karakter özelinde gidecek olursak temsil ettiği çok fazla şey var Akın'ın dünyasında ama bir yandan
In this sense, I mean the character that I was playing with the white eye has a lot of things to represent in Akın's world, the main character's world.
Aslında Akın'ın dünyasında gelişen karakterlerin sonuncusu diyebiliriz bu gördüğü şeyler için.
But in fact, actually, this is the last character that Akın sees in his world.
Yani onu hem arkaik hem ekonomi politik hem ekonomi psikolojik olarak görebileceğimiz bir karakter aslında ve çok internasyonel olduğunu düşündüğüm bir karakter ve zamanlar ötesi.
This character that I was playing, I think, is the most archaic and most kind of universal character. Has a universal quality to it.
The guy sees him as a representation of evil. It's sometimes an echoes of one character, you know. So and it all made it do it really well. That it's just a pigment or fragment of evil for him. Sometimes he's crossing at the background, out of focus, so audience doesn't realize it. Sometimes it's obvious in front of camera, but we never see the doctor again. We see the representations of him because he sees him as a source of evil in a way that just because of him he's stuck in the system, you know, hospital system.
Yani Akın yollarda aslında bir avcı gibi görüyorduk ama aslında sistemin avlamaya çalıştığı bir karaktere dönüşüyordu.
Yeah, we were seeing Akın as kind of the hunter in the streets, but actually we realized that he's being hunted, in the streets.
Aslında ben bu avcının alt katmanlarını oynadım yani bir anlamda.
So I was playing the lower levels of this hunter.
Are there some questions from the audience? Right. Wait a little bit. Here.
I heard many questions, but I try to be short. First of all, compliments. I am a psychotherapist, and it's rare that you can see psychosis represented in such a precise way, and I saw the main significance of the suffering, the pain of psychosis, which is not just a pain, but also the endless research of meaning of this pain. And this is the desperation, this is the problem of, and which is also the thing that links the story of this individual to the story of humanity. And so it is something which tells something to everybody. So thank you, because it have this film has given me some ideas, new ideas, and also the role of psychiatry is a role of the instance, the thing that want to put an end to the into this research, into this effort of research of truth, and that's unbearable. It's terrible. So that's why it is such a negative role than the role of the psychiatry, I think. I don't know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I have a question about camera. So you just mentioned the camera should always be moving because the actor is always moving. So I really wonder because I noticed there's a wave or shake. I mean, in a very very slight way during when the camera is moving. So I wonder if this on purpose because I mean if you use dolly, it's gonna be perfectly stable, right? So I wonder if this on purpose. If yes, what led you to that decision?
I want to tell one thing before Peter gets into it. Before we started, we were talking about this thing that I love it when cameramans and the DOPs, you could feel that it's shot by a human, not by a precise dolly or being done in the post-production or something. I like the way Peter shakes the camera, and I keep it the way it is. But I'm gonna leave it to you.
Yeah, I think you are right. There are some. I must admit, there were 2 or 3 shots I would stabilize for the next screening. I saw it the first time on such a big screen. But actually, you are right, and you are right that the human part to keep something inside, that it's not so glossy and so perfect. This creates for me, I don't know if for the audience, but this what I'm intending is that you feel the really closeness to the actor. When you do it too perfect, then it becomes technical, and then there is this technical medium in between you and the actor. But when there is like a little movement, and because you try to see a little more the other eye, or you want to see a little more the other actor, and you feel the struggle for the camera to not to really be on the spot, but to be a little too late, or to follow the the curiosity of the spectator. So this creates something for me more touching. So I hope that it was for you too, or was it like you said it was not perfect enough, so this way you did not like it? Might be. The Mr. with the red shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to, allow me to make some comments from the medical science side. It is enormous how psychiatry and certainly psychotherapy and the whole technical field has developed in the last years. And so I think we have now rather clear definitions what are not only treatment, but one knows relatively clear what one wants to improve in a patient. And if I understand this correctly, from the medical point of view in psychiatry, it is absolutely sure that you want to bring back a patient to his reality. So in other words, the treatment is to get somebody to face himself to his reality. Now, this is a similar principle in psychosis and also in schizophrenic. Now, my question simply is, why is that a person has become so interesting as a person to follow through also with a camera? And my question also is the fact of interaction with the story and actors of a certain place. One maybe might have an influence on the reality of that whole problem of a medical, I don't want to say diagnosis, but a medical field which is getting more and more fixed. And I find this extremely interesting that we have a film here. And do you have the feeling that you have made any impact on that person? Thank you.
Are you talking about the actor himself as an impact, or the character you are talking about?
The story and the center of your story.
Okay, it was a long question. If I don't forget, I will do my best to answer it. I actually run away from scientific part of treatments because I didn't want to be pretentious about it, and it was never my intention to go there either. In real life, I may agree with you that a lot of things has been accomplished. But in this film's case, in our story's case, my starting point with this real character when I was recording this, when I was developing the film, that he has this problem that drugs was not working with him, So the whole thing turned into some kind of mortal coil for him, So he was doing circles but he also started to see his doctor as a source of a problem. But my character never sees things in a way which makes sense. So the whole story is about a feeling, actually. Feeling of a character, that how he perceives reality in a society like my country. So that part you mentioned could be a complete another case for other films, because it's such a deep subject, So that's why I never get into medicines, treatments, and also I didn't mention any of what kind of mental illness he's into. I just wanted to be distant from those facts,
I think I tried to say something, maybe it's too complicated, but reality and also sanity and insanity is also a question of power. Because, I don't know, maybe for some atheists, the people who are preaching may be insane, and for some for some people, the guy in the film might be insane, but maybe somebody who suffers the same reality or is in the same reality understands it and feels that everybody else is insane. So I think this is also an aspect of the film which is also, I think, should empower those people who feel a little bit outside of society or outside of whatever group or whatever, that they gain self-confidence. I think this is the, I would say, a hidden message in the film. At least I see it there. So I hope that somebody else will see it.
And there's an example in the film, what you mentioned, Peter. There's an example in the film itself, actually, which is, it's just cross, it's there, maybe you can't understand. Istanbul is a hugely noisy city. And we never ever, it's very rarely we hear that noises. He hears sounds in his head, it's very quiet, or either he hears some music, And that's a sign of that. And he thinks that his city is like that, He's on the boat, and he's going to the other side at the Bosphorus, but everything is really, really quiet up until he sees the father, So, yeah, I just wanted to give you an example about what you said.
Hello, I really enjoyed the film. I was just wondering the use of the Christian community and the idea of the devil or shaitan, or had many different layers, and I was thinking, and the idea of using Chalcedon as a place, which basically I think was founded before Byzantium, and
Yeah.
and so this idea of going to some kind of archaic place.
It is actually, yeah.
Which may be pre-Christian. In this case, we see kind of a Christian, Oriental Christian community, and so on. I was thinking of this idea of maybe the idea is not so much of this idea of shaitan, but something which is not so well known, which is distant, archaic, and trying to get to that place of some origin, which may not necessarily be bad, but it may not be in symbiosis with the society he's living in. So that's what I was thinking, and this whole idea of, well, maybe also his father being a butcher or whatnot. I don't know if that was invented by him as well. Maybe that's just part of his imagination as well. I'm not sure. But I thought this idea of...
I'm not being certain in the film, so
Yes, of
is this
course.
his speculation, or is he a war criminal? We never know.
Yeah, we don't know. Okay. So yeah, I was just thinking this idea, this evil may not be so much evil, but just this search for some
Just
origin
existence.
or existence, and all the variations within the society which may not necessarily be part of the society his family is from. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, this is sorry that I'm talking too much, but with the family thing is, and I have so many friends, and also in my family there are so many like buried stuff, you know. And then the lie, and here we are again in what is reality, what is not reality. The families are keeping up lies, governments are keeping up lies, institutions keeping up lies, because the real or the truth is hidden sometimes. So for me, I mean, I interpret it this way: he was a war criminal, and all the family is suffering because of that. And
Suffering from lie too?
Yeah, from lie itself, but it's not really clear in the movie. But for me, it's absolutely the case.
We actually with Jem, with my actor, we worked on that actually. That we create this backstory that this guy get lost during the Yugoslavian war, and he the boys also, his son is saying that he went to this wedding and killed everybody, and there are people like that exist in old Yugoslavia, and some people also, some relatives of mine had to run to Turkey, my country, unable to run away from that lie, unable to have a fresh start. So the actually illness, apart from the scientific aspect to it, to his illness, his mental decay starts with this lie within the family, even though mother is doing her best to bury it, because she kind of still loves that man, and he's not around. No one knows what happened to him. So it's a kind of a taboo in the family.
Other question?
Hello. My question is about the music that take a lot of place in the film, and why did you choose a music very embarrassing and that took a lot of place in the scene,
Why did I use a lot of music, you are asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took a lot of place in the film.
I will also leave it to him a little bit, result. But for me, the whole story is about brain chemicals, right? How he feels, how he acts. And for me, there was this narcotic aspect to him, that everything shaped by his own brain chemicals, actually. And his anger, his excitement, and his feelings. So this was the music he hears in his hand. And especially the first part of the film, there are scenes who is a bit cringe because he's alone and the people doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. And there are these waves of attacks, you know, which you can see it in the scene when he sees the father. So for me, for a character who doesn't want to talk about anymore, which he told the doctor, music was essential. And yeah, I work with Tom, and he's actually coming from electronic music producing background. So it was important for me to have a big amount of music in the film. And I'm not a purist, you know. I never do purist documentaries either. My film Meteors there were a lot of guitars and post-rock in it. So I like to use music in a way which is very elemental for me. So that's why it's there. But for this character, when he says to doctor that he doesn't want to speak anymore, and then if you realize that like next 40 minutes we hear no dialogue apart from Imam. So that's why music is so heavy and it's there. It's the music he hears in his head. Maybe Tom would like to add a couple of something, because Tom is the kind of guy that, you know, you don't talk with him too much about the music he creates. He just watch the scene and send you stuff and
yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well, to be fair. I just wanted to create something that sounded like what was going on in a kid's head. So lots of textures. We recorded lots of sort of traditional sounding instruments, and I wanted to manipulate them to kind of represent the kind of impact that his mental health was having on his religious beliefs and things like that. But yeah, I kind of, like you were saying earlier, I operate just on instinct, really.
What kind of reference do you give for the music?
What kind of references? I put some really, I mean, we had a similar taste, actually. I put there some of the electronic music there, which meant a lot to me in my younger days. You know, I used to do a lot of clubbing, and so I know electronic music, you know, producers. But
you heard my music on the radio initially, didn't you? As well?
Yeah, this is how it started. Actually, I heard his music on BBC when we were editing with Murat, and said, "Well, who is this guy?" And then, you know, I found him. And but the thing about Tom is that he could do something really dancey, but he could also use a traditional Turkish instrument too. So he has this diverse talent, how can I say? Yeah, diverse talent. That it made life easier for me when I was trying to finish the film. Sometimes music, I want the audience to listen to film, sometimes more than they watch it, you know, because it's equally important as much as images. And yeah, that's it.
Last question. I have a last question for Arda, because no, we never speak about production, but this movie it couldn't be so easy to produce, and there are a lot of countries involved, and I can imagine that it was a long journey altogether.
Yeah, it was a long journey, also because of COVID in between. But we started around 2018 in the beginning. Yeah, it took a long time and to produce, I mean to finance it. But once we got on board, some of the funds and then the others joined. But now it's this huge co-production between Netherlands, Italy, Germany, and Norway. Hope I'm not missing anything.
No, you're not.
5 countries.
Did you count Netherlands?
Yeah, Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the end, it worked out well, actually. Once we got the structure. I mean, shooting in Istanbul also was kind of, It was fun to a certain extent. I mean, it's very crowded, and Gürcan especially wanted to shoot with the crowds and in these places that many people visit. But also, I mean, in terms of how Peter shot and the camera crew and how they worked was also a bit like kind of really guerrilla style. In most of the scenes, we were really mobile, and so yeah.
Also, the way about funding that we kind of when we present this film before we shoot in Cannes Cine Fondation. And when we were pitching the film to people, which is very difficult for me actually, but then you realize that it relates to people. I think this is how we could do this 5-country co-production. Yeah, I mean, there's this universal aspect to this story, and some people greenlight the project for us. So.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for the movie, for this talk, and suggest the movie for the others.
Thank you. Thank you.